Now, Nicolas Cage as Dracula is something that will either be good or bad, and it instantly reminds me of the Community episode that debates Nicolas Cage good or bad. Well, I'm happy to say it was good, and the opening with Nicholas Holtz and his Renfield examining this whole abridged story of the classic Dracula, which I read 6 times in school, I can't help but want this entire story and life of Dracula and Renfield to be told in a black and white story, but we got something a bit more modern. The movie fires on all cylinders right out of the gate with a fun and well shot fight between the vampire hunters, and while a movie of all of this would have been very cool, we've had many other things like that, such as What We Do in the Shadows recently, so the comparison would have been had there. The story of the familiar wanting to dump the toxic relationship works very, very well, if a bit too close to What We Do in the Shadows, but my criticism with the story lies with a ramping up of Dracula wanting to take over the world and it sharing screen time with a whole cop drama. It felt simply a device to get the crime family on his side, and that's, well, it's a shame because it's completely underserved. The story does become somewhat paper thin, but the action and stellar performance of the Nicholis, mainly Nicholas Hoult for the main movie, was very, very good. It's beyond me why he's not had a big franchise leading moment yet in Hollywood. He has range, had the X-Men movies, Skins, and many others, and is effortlessly charming just like Robert Pattinson. While I appreciated your boy John Ralphio, I felt the human villains were rather weak, and making a boy trying to appease his mother but also be the comic relief of the film let it down somewhat. And I kind of didn't care about the humans whatsoever, and the whole corrupt police force and mafia was a bit of a low point. I was loving the vampire lore, and then we got Awkwafina, who was good in what she did, but I did struggle to care about Marvel's Katie and her FBI sister, and it would have been a lot more fun had it just stuck with the campy Dracula and Renfield. At the end of the day, the movie was entertaining and fun, but could have been a cult classic if it focused on the good parts, the two Nicholases or Nicholi. Overall, I had an absolute blast with it, but like I said, it did lose parts of it in parts, mainly towards the second half, and unfortunately we didn't get too much of Dracula himself, which, played by Nicolas Cage, as I said, was just really, really fun, campy, and he played that ethereal, however you pronounce that word, Dracula to a T. And had this movie had been focused on that and trying to save Renfield's friends mainly, as opposed to a whole cop drama, which I found myself struggling to care in parts and wanting to go straight back to Dracula as soon as possible, well, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. That said, I do sound like I am being overly harsh. I give it a good 3.5 out of 5, as I had an absolute blast and a joy watching what was on the screen in front of me. Many other reviews have been pretty harsh, so I do wonder where that was coming from, but I do understand it, unfortunately, at the end of the day. Overall, again, I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it isn't doing that well at the box office compared to The Pope's Exorcist, which looked like I'm not going to have a chance to see it at the cinema, so I won't be able to give you my thoughts on it. But it is a shame that this movie has been made for, I think, $85 million. So, yeah, it looks like they didn't take the idea of trying to become like Cocaine Bear or Megan and being a kind of a low-budget, modest hit. But, again, it's enjoyable. And I think it will find a home on streaming as people think, hold on, this was fun. Just like they will do with Dungeons & Dragons. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed the new format. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.